Lights out, we're underway. Motorsport Republica podcast.
Tommy,
Hello, James Shaw. How you going?
episode 107.
107.
I'm not going good.
No, what's happened?
Well, I think you gave me COVID,
Yeah.
and I've been on death's door for the past 36 hours.
Well, if people were watching on YouTube last week, you would have seen James live getting COVID.
Of a live transmission. Because we filmed a live transmission of COVID.
The first.
Didn't help that you were kissing me all night. But
No, God. Yeah, it was. You had a rough week, eh?
bro, we went out for dinner on Friday night. Probably shouldn't have done that. And then I woke up. I fell asleep at like 11:30. I woke up at 11:30 the next morning. I had that 12-hour sleep. I'm not exaggerating here. I woke up in like a little puddle of sweat. I was overheating that much. You know when you like wipe your forehead.
Oh man, I was there. I was there.
And there was like salt in my hair.
Yeah. You'd be it's
Preaching to the choir.
preaching to the choir, mate. It got me good. I don't know what we caught. What I caught from Thailand when I trans to you. Trans.
Excuse me.
Don't
bring that into my house.
it was a rough one, but man, I mean, it was a big weekend, wasn't it? Piastri
Amazing.
getting the W in the Formula One race over in China. Speaking of COVID, but it's an interesting weekend. We'll dissect that because it was a bit of a boring race in the end. Unfortunately, the sprint was sort of the entree to the main course, which nothing much happened. It was a bit bland, but we'll get into that shortly. But James, big announcement on tonight's show.
Go on.
Neemian Clothing have jumped on board with
Yep.
us. So, guys, we met Ben last Friday. He started this business himself. He's from Melbourne, Australia, and he does protective clothing. So his big thing is these leggings that we've tried and tested. They're amazing. So you wear them underneath just normal clothing. And they provide unbelievable protection. So we're a great believer in this product, and we highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, 100%. And you can wear them underneath your normal jeans, normal pants, whatever they are. So we loved hearing his story. And it's really, really cool that he's jumping on board with us. And, you know, obviously a lot of our listeners and the people that watch this podcast as well ride. So it's cool that you get a bit of information as well to our listeners.
Yeah, he gave us a quick rundown of the product and the testing and a few things, and we were blown away. And it's a really exciting new product to the market.
Yeah, so. and the motorcycle industry, as in, you know, manufacturers, I guess, has been a bit stale. So to have something brand new is exciting to see.
Yeah, really exciting to see. So, yeah, we're guys, jump on board. Neiman Clothing, Neiman.clothing is the website. So just jump on board and then have a look. Simply have a look and see if it's a product for you, because it's definitely been a product for us. So
definitely.
Now we've got F1 on today's show. Of course, we're going to jump into a little bit of pre-race for COTA as well in the MotoGP. But first things first, I want to thank everyone at home subscribing to our YouTube. We're up to about 1,400 subs, which has been awesome for us. So we really appreciate the support. We're changing things up with Patreon. James,
yes.
Can you run us through that?
Yes. So end of every month, start of each month, just depending on how the races end, we're going to do a monthly review show on Patreon. So we're going to do a review show on all the racing from MotoGP, Formula One. If you're a Patreon member, you will get guaranteed your hot takes, questions, whatever it is, to be read out on the pod on that Patreon episode. And then we're going to do a review of, obviously, that month's racing. You know, we're going to find out who our MVP is for the month. We won't give away too much, but it's going to be a bit more of a review monthly show for our Patreon listeners. So bit of a revamp, which is good, and it's exciting. It's been fun.
Yeah, and thanks for the Patreon members staying on board for the last few months. We've just had a crazy month and a half heading overseas and everything. So really appreciate that.
100%.
All right,
bro. Chinese Grand Prix. It's crazy. I walked into work today and I was talking to people about F1. They're all just like, first 5 laps was good. Last 5 laps was good. Nothing else happened.
Yeah, it was just waiting for things to happen, and it was a Formula One race of old. And I'll run through the results quickly for you. Oscar Piastri, first place, which was super exciting for us as Aussies. And well done to him. Bit of redemption from last week. Lando Norris in second. Lucky to finish after almost a full brake failure. We found out at the end. George Russell third, Max Verstappen fourth, and this is where it got interesting. Ferraris both disqualified. So Ocon finished in fifth for the Haas, which is an unbelievable result. Antonelli sixth, Albon seventh, Ollie Bierman, the 19-year-old from Haas, eighth, Lance Stroll points 2 weeks in a row.
Your boy.
And then Carlos Sainz first points for Williams. So
Wow.
it really threw up an unusual result. So if anyone doesn't know, Charles Leclerc and Hamilton's both got disqualified at the end of the race with Pierre Gasly. So Leclerc and Gasly had underweight,
Yep.
and Hamilton too much wear on the bottom of the car.
Scrubbing of the tyres or something, wasn't it?
No, there's a plank on the bottom of the car, and he was 0.5 mil off the allowance. So super unfortunate. What happened to George Russell last year after winning in Spa, and I thought with Charles Leclerc, I thought he had that front wing was missing. Is that part of the weight? No, they were allowed to put on the original part. He still was underweight. So a big boo-boo from Ferrari, and the first ever Ferrari double disqualification on a race weekend, which was incredible. So
it's interesting that for a race that really didn't have much, there's actually a lot of talking points out of it.
Lots of talking points, and no more than Red Bull and Lawson. What's going on there? There's talks that he's going to be replaced by Yuki Tsunoda for Japan. I mean, giving the guy 2 races and almost going to be destroying a career. He's struggled. He's really struggled.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for him. He just can't get his head around this car. And the other thing is, the Racing Bull car looks like it's got pace and performance. Unbelievably, 2 weekends in a row, the Racing Bull strategists completely have muffed that, going for the 2-stop, which they have probably the worst strategic team in the grid. Everyone talks about Ferrari.
Yeah.
But they're fighting for wins. Where Racing Bull, time and time again, Yuki Tsunoda's up there. He's 6th or 7th or 8th, and he ends up finishing 13th. We sit here on a Monday night, go, Tsunoda, he's fluffed it again. No, it's actually by the strategist. So,
have you had like a bit of an epiphany moment that it's the strategist?
I have gone back to some old races and listened to some old things, and there's been a lot of occurrence of this, and I just couldn't believe it. Don't commit both cars to this strategy when the rest of the field are going the other way. Like, just split the strategy. Like they've gone 2 weekends pretty much where they could have got 2 top 6s or 2 top 7s. They got no points. They're on 9th in the constructors, and they've probably got the 5th fastest car.
Yeah, it's just it's a wild, and it's I don't know. Like it's interesting with Tsunoda because you feel like you can see so much potential with him, but then that happens, and it happens all the time, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Look, I mean, he's still, for me, hasn't got that stardom, and he hasn't shown that. He's been in the sport for 4 years.
Is it 4 years, is it? I actually thought it was longer than that.
And he's had a couple of 4th places, so... But the other thing is turbulent air is becoming a massive issue again in Formula One. We saw that in the sprint race. We saw that in the main race. As soon as you got sort of within a second of the car in front, it was just destroying the tyres. They lost all their downforce. It was a really interesting thing going back to like sort of 3-4 years ago. I mean, they got these new cars with this new, less aero, and it's still a massive issue. So once we've become to this peak of these rules, it seems like the turbulent air has just become a massive issue again. So,
I know they had as you said, a whole heap of tyre trouble because they just resurfaced Shanghai as well, and it's super grainy. Because like in the main race, Lando Norris was 8 laps in. He's like, I can already feel it.
Yeah,
You're 8 laps in.
Man. I know.
So it's just, and then like they didn't know with Verstappen when he was 15, 16, 17, 18 laps in, if he was just conserving the tyres or he just didn't have pace. And then they pitted him at like lap 22 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
and they just said, all right, he just doesn't have the pace.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. And then they did 45 laps on the hard tyre.
Well, they had 2 sets for the weekends.
Yeah, and they weren't allowed, they can't practice them.
Yeah, and it was so true. I think it was Martin. You're fucking up hard. Martin Brundle was saying like, there's no point going out and practice and destroying a set of tires because then you give everyone free data, which is so true.
It's so true. So it was always going to be a gamble. A gamble. It was always going to look like a medium hard strategy. And like, to be honest with you, the Pirelli put their pre-race strategy that was going to be the fastest strategy.
Yeah.
And it definitely wasn't. The one stop definitely worked, and most of the field committed to that one stop early on after the first stop, and it seemed to work for him. And it worked for a lot of teams and it seemed to work for him. And it worked for a lot of teams going down, looking at Ollie Behrman starting on the hards, then going to mediums to finish the race, past 3 or 4 cars to get up to, I think it was 10th and end up being 7th after the disqualification. So yeah, it's interesting.
What about Haas? What did they get? 5th and an 8th or a 9th? Did you say?
Bro, Ocon finished 7th on merit, which is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And then obviously with the 2 Ferraris getting disqualified up to 5th place.
The amount of money they would be getting.
Oh, massive.
Double points and double good points.
Double and so good for Ocon. I mean, it really came out of nowhere for me.
Bro, we were talking about Haas last week.
And what a change of occurrence.
How does that? I just don't understand how Ferrari were nowhere in Albert Park, and then bang, Hamilton goes out and wins a sprint race.
Yeah,
which is just no one saw that coming. And then and Haas was nowhere last week as well, and then bang, he gets on merit 7th, but the 5th.
Yeah, I think for me it was that seeing Hamilton first of all put on pole in the sprint and then winning it, thinking, oh well, it's going to be Ferrari weekend, and then qualifying, McLaren just went bang. 1 and 2. Oh, sorry, 1 and 3, I should say. And then the whole weekend turned on itself. It was similar to Qatar last year with a sprint race and the main race, 2 completely different race weekends. And you said to me on Saturday night, you're like, are they correlate? And I'm like,
you didn't know.
Sometimes they do, but you just don't know. And it turned out like that. And it turned out that the McLaren just pretty much dominated for the rest of the weekend.
You're right, 100%. You're right. This kind of doesn't make sense though, and. Lewis seems like he managed his tyres amazing. It was 18 lap or whatever it was, sprint race, and he seemed like he could really get stretch those tyres out. And then the Ferraris just struggled for the whole.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to what I was saying. It shows when you get out in front and you have that clear air, how different your life is in the F1 race. Because Hamilton was out in the clear air, dominated the sprint, and his teammates behind him in the main race with half a front wing, and he goes, I'll let him pass. I've got no pace. What a turn of events.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. And how is Leclerc going so fast with a missing winglet? I just don't understand that.
That side plate or whatever they called it. They were talking about the aero technicians back in Maranello going, well, how do I justify my job now?
I know, the little end plate disappearing, the wind was hanging down lower, and they were saying, it could mean that he goes faster because the wing's lower to the car. But at the end of the day, the car would be completely out of balance.
Yeah.
And it really shows you, he must have had some serious pace for him to go that fast in the race. Imagine if he had his front wing and it was fine. I mean, what could have happened? I mean, it was a big turn of events from him as well.
Yeah, well, he crashed into Hamilton in the first couple corners, wasn't it?
He did. Yeah, it was his fault. They've come together twice in the first 2 weekends now, because there was a slight touch of wings in Australia in the restart after the safety car as well. So that's going to be an interesting battle for the year.
Underperforming a little bit, Charles?
Oh, he has until then. I mean, that was he had an amazing race for put into that circumstance with half a missing wing and being behind his teammate, and then he got caught at the end by Verstappen. Probably used too much tyre because of the front wing, but. Yeah, and I think he had a great race in the end. From what I thought his race was done after the first corner. I thought, he's finished. He's going to pit. He's going to be last, but he made it work in the end. So
it's true when you talk about going back to clear air. I noted this. I noted this down. Norris was 3.6 seconds behind Oscar going into one of his pit stops. Oscar went too far forward and had a 3.3 second pit stop. He got back up to 1.5 seconds, and we could have climbed into his DRS and we could have had a battle.
Yeah.
Lando pitted, did 2.2 seconds, but then just got stuck behind 2 drivers and went back down to 6 seconds and
Yeah. And then actually
3 laps.
Russell actually passed him.
Yeah.
That's the power of the undercut.
Yeah.
It's the power of the undercut, and he passed. And to his credit, he repassed Russell with not that many laps after that, and then it was just steady as you go from there.
Yeah,
so.
but it just shows how much. If you got pole position and then you just hold that first corner.
Yeah, how important it is.
It's almost for that race, it was the race.
Yeah, I think it is an unusual circuit in the fact that, yes, it was resurfaced and it had that really rough, just tire grueling surface. And then the long corners that are on that track. I mean, it just destroys that front left because you've got that first turn, which is a long radius right-hander. and then you got turn 13 onto the back straight, which is just the same sort of corner. I mean, just does not end. And I just, imagine being on board with Lando Norris, those last 5 laps. He said the brake was going...
Bro, what was that?
Going along, like going to the floor. Imagine being at the end of that straight going 330 k's an hour and just not knowing what you have underneath you. Was scary stuff.
So scary. And he had, there was basically no feel with it. He still had brake pressure, but it was right at the end.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't really use much of it. Otherwise, he's going to lose all his brakes. So he had to commit to like 330 k's or whatever is down that back straight and then gently ease it on. And that last lap, George was catching him at a rate of
I
knots.
think he
was almost just ghosting around there.
Yeah. And they do get a lot of brake power from the energy recovery system. But it wouldn't do much at the end of that back straight. I mean, you have to fully you just put the force that goes on that brake pedal is unbelievable.
So Tommy, anyway, I've been looking at getting a new helmet.
Okay, right you are.
A replica helmet.
Okay.
So I'm looking at either like a Marc Marquez Shoei Rossi AGV or controversially like a Nakagami Arai. What do you think?
Well, I think Nakagami Arai might not be a bad idea because they'd have to build them strong. Repeat hits throughout the whole weekend.
That's right.
Where would you find something like that?
Mate, motoheaven.com.au. They have all the helmet brands that you want. They've got all the racing suits, jackets, big brands, HJC, Shoei, Dainese, Alps. Mate, they have everything. How good's that?
That is so good. And I heard there's free delivery over $150 as well.
Free delivery over $150. Super fast dispatch, which is amazing all around the country. They do an excellent job. You just check out their Google reviews. It's like all 5 stars. It's pretty amazing. They do a great job.
Give the people the website.
motoheaven.com.au. Check them out. They are the best in the business for all your motorcycle needs. And they've got a parts finder. You can get all the parts you want. Brake discs, chains, sprockets, spark plugs. I know that's all gobbledygook to you, Tom, but... they are the best in the business. Head down to motoheaven.com.au and they will look after you. Is there like an emergency brake, handbrake lever or something in an F1 car you know of?
No, there's nothing.
So if the brakes go, that's it. There's no safety net.
If the brakes go,
there's got to be something.
If you take your foot off the accelerator, there'll be quite a lot of braking power from that energy recovery system. But there's no extra little lever they can pull. There's no eject button.
No eject button. I was going to say like a fighter jet.
Oh, it's life or death. It really is. I mean, brake failure has got to be the scariest thing in a race car. Full stop.
Hard.
So,
switching codes for a second. Austria, the same weekend. Rossi, Vinales, and all that had that massive accident. Vinales had brake failure.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a weekend after.
Yeah, because they had the double race.
Yeah, they had the double race. He lost it.
He hopped off, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when it all started with Vinales.
Yeah, the blocking. But yeah, I mean, scary thought. What did you think of the sprint format?
In what way?
Like, did you enjoy the weekend? Was there too much going on?
There's too much going on in the fact of they need to make it like MotoGP where one qualifying sets both grids.
Yeah,
that's all they need to change, I personally think.
Yeah.
Because a sprint race, I'm all for it. And I'm all for it for every 4 or 5 rounds, whatever it is.
Yeah, they've only got 5 per season.
5 per season. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
And it was cool in Shanghai that it threw up 2 very different results as well. But I don't think you need a sprint qualifying and a main race qualifying.
Yeah, what they used to do is have the main qualifying session and then the sprint race was then the grid for the main race.
Yeah.
And then what was happening was someone was going to the first corner, damaging their front wing, going to the back, and then starting the main race from last. So, and then it just wrecked the whole weekend. It's just so many ways of looking at it, isn't there? Because... for example, if you have a shit sprint qualifying, which is only after 1 practice session, got to remember that as well. So you got 1 practice session, you go straight into qualifying, and then you have a shit qualifying session, then you fuck for the whole weekend as well. So it's a really fine line that, and I'm not a fan of it at all. It's too much racing. I liked watching practice. I like them easing into the weekend, especially the round 2. Like you got 6 rookies on the grid now. I know they're not going to change the rules because there's more rookies on the grid, but they've got 60 minutes to, first of all, work out the long runs and then have qualifying runs. I mean, it's just not enough practice.
It's not enough practice. But like, I think it's just too much going on.
Yeah.
I think there's way too much going on. Honestly, you just need to make it one qualifying session.
Yeah.
No one gets hurt out of that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I even think that you could have like an hour and a half practice session at the start, and then your whatever the result of that practice session, it could be your sprint race.
You just got to put in a banker at the end.
You just got to put a banker in the end, like they do in MotoGP, and then have I don't mind the qualifying session in the afternoon on a Saturday. That's fine. But that sprint qualifying is just a nothingy session for me, and I just think it's a bit of a weird one, and I don't know, just a little bit clumsy. That's my thought.
What do you think about them taking out the fastest lap point?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was getting a bit ridiculous. People pitting at the end of the race to go to the fastest
I like
lap.
that.
It added a little bit more of a, and what they said in commentary was hilarious because the FIA get paid per points from each team. So if you have 300 points for the year, you pay a certain amount of fees at the end of it. And they said, they're actually costing themselves money because there's 24 less points each year. Yeah, I mean, I'm not fussed either way.
I didn't mind it. It was something different.
Yeah, I mean, it added probably something a little bit more interesting each race.
It was cool seeing Verstappen be like 40 seconds ahead, pit,
Yeah.
and then punch and do a fast. I think that's cool.
Yeah,
That's called utter domination.
It's definitely utter domination. Yeah, it was interesting. Speaking of Red Bull, like the commentators were talking about like going back to Liam Lawson here.
Yeah, we need to talk about this.
Sacrificing the pace of the car so it'd be easier for him to drive. And I just thought that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. So they were pretty much saying that the car is built around Max, which it is. He's the number one guy. He's a 4-time world champion. But to say, let's actually make the car a little bit easier to drive so then the teammate can be up there. And I just thought it was a really interesting argument. I mean, you got to go the guy who's winning. You got to go the guy who's the world champion.
Bro, we've had this argument 1,000 times, just in a different code.
Yeah, exactly right. It's the same thing as Honda.
It's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing. And it's interesting that nobody can do it except for probably Ricardo and Perez for half a season. No one has been close to Max.
Nah.
For, the last 6 or 7 years.
All right, let's break down this losses situation because this has been... It's been more of a talk than Piastri winning.
It's probably the biggest talking point in Formula 1 at the moment.
Easily. It's all over my social media. I was sending you things today which I want to talk to you about.
Yep.
You brushed it off. But I want to know.
Yeah.
I think this is a problem with Red Bull. This is a problem. Like, you need to stick it out with someone for longer than 2 races, and then Christian Horner's getting pressed by is it Ted Kravitz?
Yes.
And he's like, we'll look at it. Just like, back your driver. It's 2 races.
Yeah.
It's 2 races.
There's a lot of media pressure as well, but you're right. They're always, and that helmet Marco, as hilarious as he is, he always leaves the door open. He always does.
He's a detriment, man. I'm telling ya.
He's a detriment. He's in bed with the Red Bull family, so he'll never disappear. But look, 2 rounds in, Lawson's done nothing, absolutely nothing.
Bro, okay, yes. But he came in with flying colours last year. He can't just lose all this talent
overnight. I know, it's a good point. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't.
And like, we know Red Bull's maybe the 4th best car at the moment.
Arguably, yeah.
Arguably.
Yep.
But you can't
allegedly.
Allegedly, my new favourite word. You can't just be either spreading these. You got to back your driver in because you're never going to get any consistency.
I get that, but I don't. I see where you're coming from. But what I'm saying is, I think internally they probably are. It's the media that's spinning this.
Well, Christian Horner's like, we've got to have a look at it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
he's almost the face of all this.
Yeah.
He'd be like, we understand that, but we back him in.
Yeah.
We'll do everything that we can to get you up to speed.
Yeah,
he's leaving the door open as well.
Well, it was a really interesting point they made early in the weekend that Lawson did no running over the winter in any of these circuits on older Formula 1 cars. So
What do you mean?
They could have sent Lawson to Shanghai
Yeah.
with a 5-year-old Red Bull,
Okay.
a circuit that he's never been to,
Yeah.
and do some laps around there.
You can do that.
You can do that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The car's got to be old enough, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a 5-year-old car. They could have spent the money, and with the budget of Red Bull, they could have done it. They didn't do that.
They could easily do that.
Easily. So there's little things that they have a lot to answer for in this situation.
That's interesting.
So for me, they have just gone, we're going to put you in this seat. We expect you to go well, just be staring at Verstappen's gearbox, but then doing nothing to help.
But isn't this the same old story?
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
This is the problem, though. Like, you're going to throw Yuki Tsunoda in. He might just do the same thing.
He will just do the same thing.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then we're back to square one. Like,
So what do they do?
Back him.
Yeah.
Back him for 2 seasons. Because he's bro, it's like, what, his 7th race or something? Like, he's still regarded as a rookie.
It's hard, man, because this Constructors' Championship is so important.
I know, but they're not helping themselves.
Yeah, and this is how they're thinking. They're thinking that we need the guy in the points at least, and the guy's finishing 18th, 19th.
You got to, well, it's on them.
Yeah.
It's on them. It's on them. He's got the skills.
Do you reckon they've made the wrong decision? They should have had Yuki Tsunoda in there.
Maybe. But now they got to provide all the support and not leave these doors open for media like us or the fans.
Yeah.
That's just got to destroy him mentally more.
Oh, he's already fucked.
But
he's already destroyed.
you need to pick him up. You need to lift him.
Yeah.
Because it's not working. And it hasn't worked for so long with Red Bull. Like, this has been their one curse. For all good that they do, this is their one curse.
Yeah.
You know, they need to be a team. You know, look at McLaren, how team orientated they are. Obviously, they got the best car now, but even when they didn't have the best car, like, they got to be able to lift him up.
It's a good point. I agree. It's time will tell. Look, I'm so torn on this.
Well, what do you think?
Wow, he's finishing last in these races.
I know.
It's not like he's finishing 10th and 11th like Perez was. He's finishing.
Where did he finish this last race?
He finished 12th, but you got to remember there was 3 disqualifications and 3 DNFs.
Don't take out the DNFs.
And Yuki Tsunoda's wing went kapow with 10 laps to go, so he had to
reference.
He had to pit. So for me, it's just not good enough. Like, it really isn't.
Okay, you're right. It's not good enough. But are you saying that you would swap him out now?
No. Of course not. No. You have to give him the year. You have to give him the year.
At least, okay. So you're basically on the same side as me.
You have to give him
back
a year.
him in.
Yeah, you have to give him a year. You got to back him in. And you're right. You don't lose talent overnight.
Bro, like, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
He hasn't just gone, all crazy and forgotten how to drive. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, same as Perez. Perez was a star, man. Like, the guy won in a Force India and was like the tyre whisperer, and now in arguably...
Shell of a man.
Well, yeah, he's out. Like, I had to remind myself last week. I'm like, this guy's not even on the grid.
Yeah.
This guy is 33 years old, I'm going to say. And he's not even on the grid. He should be, like, prime, Like, you got 10-year-old older drivers on the grid that are racing.
Yeah.
He should be on the grid and he's gone. He's destroyed. And another Red Bull career gone, So, it's the most interesting argument at the moment.
I really don't think there should be an argument. And I think they're way too cutthroat. Way too cutthroat. Yeah. It's not helping them in the slightest. They need to... If they pick Tsunoda or Lawson, fine. But they need to just back them in and support them through the media because they're clearly not doing that, and it doesn't work. It works with Max because he delivers.
Yeah.
But he's another stratosphere. You're not going to get another Max.
He's A+.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they almost don't want that because it's just going to cause so many more dramas.
Yeah.
I know they want to drive at second or third or consistent podiums, but that's not happening, and they just need... Liam Lawson clearly has the pace to be up there. Clearly has the pace. But there's something going on, whether you say it's mental. Okay, then that has to be a team environment thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yuki Tsunoda's come out in the media and he's like, they're like, oh, would you go to Red Bull? It doesn't look like it doesn't look like the car's that any faster than what yours is. He goes, I'll be there. It's faster. It's way faster.
Yeah.
Of course I'll be there.
Yeah.
So he's also adding fuel to the fire, which you would.
Fair enough.
You
Of
would.
course,
Of course
you'd
you
be doing
would.
that. You'd be doing that to me. I'd be doing that to you.
100%. And he would be filthy that he's not in that seat.
Of course.
And it's time will tell. If they dump Lawson and they put Yuki in for Japan, like you can imagine the commotion because obviously the Japanese driver and with the Japanese engine at the Japanese Grand Prix, but it will just destroy Liam Lawson and he could never come back from this.
It's just you're right. I don't think it's gonna happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. But this conversation shouldn't even be on the table.
Why is he going so bad?
Liam Lawson.
Yeah,
I don't know.
like it's just
As I said, I think it's a team environment thing. I really do.
yeah, but like it's the start of the season. Like going into Australia, he qualifies 19th in the qualifying session. Like
know.
it's so far off the pace.
It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't.
I know it's close. It's the closest season of Formula One they're saying it's going to be in history.
It's
And
like, oh, sorry, you go.
you got Hulkenberg, in the points last week, and then you got Hulkenberg finishing last. I mean, it's just going to go topsy-turvy. You got Haas up the back of the grid in Australia, and then double points finish. Like, it's going to be one of those crazy years. But for me, it's he's just got to lift his game. I mean, qualifying is the one thing that, they've all got the cars turned up. They've all got no issues. The cars have got all their parts on there. They're not damaged. That's where you got to show your talent, and he hasn't done it. The race I get, if he's starting from 19th, bro, he's not getting up to fucking 5th.
Yeah.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
The last two races has been rain, and then you got the tyre wear with the turbulent air. There's no chance for him, but it's qualifying. That's the big thing.
Both those tracks, he hasn't raced there before, yeah?
And correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And
But Japan, he knows.
He raced Super Formula for a long time, so he will know that track from like the back of his hand.
Yeah.
So if he goes into that weekend, if he's in a Formula One car, because they're already talking that Colapinto is going to be replacing Yuki Tsunoda.
Talk to me. I've been sending you stuff all day on this.
Well, I think that's crap because
You-
you can't kick the guy out after 2 rounds. Like at least give him the seat.
You're right. You're 100% right. But Red Bull would do something like that.
Red Bull kicked Kvyat out the race. He got a podium the race before. He got a podium. And then Max Verstappen was like the young kid, and they go, "Oh no, Max is in."
And then took his misses.
And then he won the race in Barcelona, and then took it to misses.
That's crazy.
It is.
That's another level. But it's on trends. That's what the young people say.
Yeah.
It's on trends for what Red Bull would do.
Yeah.
They would do that.
Yeah. We'll see. Time will tell. I mean,
What's it paying? Or in all honesty, what's it paying that happens where they just boot Lawson, they put Tsunoda into Red Bull, and they put Colapinto into the Toro Rosso?
It's 100 to 1. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Nah, don't look at me like
Breaking news.
Nah.
I keep saying breaking news.
Nah.
An Argentinian mate with German heritage.
He's well liked, Colapinto in the paddock. Really well liked. And they're already...
He'd be pushing for it.
Oh, of course.
He'd rather be
And
that than the Alpine.
He's got the money as well. Like
Does
the thing
he?
is, the thing is with Racing Point, there could be a thing where Colapinto says, "Well, I'm going to come to your team and I'll have a sponsor and they'll pay $5 million." Where Liam Lawson he's coming from the factory team with down on confidence, not bringing anything with him. That's where it could happen. But man, Red Bull, they're not going to dump him after 2 races. It can't happen. I'm telling you. You can't give the guy 2 races.
You know how like you're talking to me right now? I'm not believing a word you're saying.
God, really?
Yeah, you're saying this with a massive smile on your face.
No, bro, I'm telling you.
Look at you, you're laughing.
They cannot. No, because if it does happen, it'll be so crazy.
But like, the more we talk about it, the more I think this could happen now, just because of Red Bull's history.
There's no way. There's no way. You can't give the young kid 2 rounds. Like that's like Red Bull cutthroat on steroids. Like Helmut Marko's like popping the bloody test.
Well,
you know
when they get older, they get a bit crazier.
He's crazy. Crazy good though. I like Helmut, but he just says some crazy stuff.
Too cutthroat for me. Is this for me though? This story is one of the most interesting stories I'm following in motorsport.
Yeah, it is. It is
because it's very unique, and it's very unique to Red Bull.
Yeah,
but it's just so for me crazy that there's not backing this guy. My biggest gripe is just that there's not backing this guy. you've got him as your main, in your main team. Just back him in through the media. I guess you can almost say what you want to a degree behind closed doors, but through the media, you have to just completely back him in.
Yeah, it's a good, and I agree wholeheartedly. It's just how they are.
It doesn't work, man. It doesn't work.
It's the old thing with Formula One. They go, well, you're here. This is the pinnacle of motorsport. You're here right now. You've worked your whole life to get here. You have to do the job. There's no babying in this Red Bull team. There is. If we're going to sign you, we're going to pay you the money. You do the job. If you don't do it, you're out. And that's where they've been their whole time they've been in the sport. So,
yeah, but I just don't think that works. Like I understand they've had Max and they've had Vettel. I get it, but it's clearly never worked for their second driver.
Yeah,
and you can't rely on Max for the rest of your life either. Because what happens when he leaves?
Oh well, that's the thing. I mean,
they're so fucked.
Yeah, they're talking,
and they can't have that attitude then.
Well, they're talking if the car isn't going to perform this year, Max could just go, and they're going to have no options at all.
Performance clause.
Well, who knows? I mean, there could be anything like that in his. He'd have the contract written around him. It wouldn't be the other way around. So
if you're someone like him, definitely.
So who knows what's going to happen, and that's going to be their downfall because they haven't got that solid second driver. They could possibly get a Lando Norris, but who knows how he's going to go in this car if it's undrivable, if it's so far. The thing is, Max Verstappen loves a pointy car, so really, really a lot of point into the corner with a lot of oversteer. That's how he likes to drive. And not a lot of drivers can handle that. Like an Albon, very smooth, didn't like it. Gasly was the same. Perez was the same as well. Very smooth driver. So completely different ways of doing it. So it's going to be their downfall. It's going to be their upfall winning the last four championships. But in the long run, they're in a world of hurt.
Smells like Repsol Honda.
It does. Yeah, it's a similar thing. It's exactly right.
It's weird. Max Verstappen. So what are we thinking? How are you tracking his season so far with Red Bull? Obviously, he's at a third and a fourth.
Yeah, right? Man. I think, and I said this last year, it's going to really hurt not having Adrian Newey there. Because the development of this car isn't going to... This guy's a genius. Like,
clearly.
He is a genius. And it's not just creating a car for the year. It's developing the car for the year.
And throughout the year.
Yeah. You've got new wings, new side pods, new rear wings, DRS systems. All these things that he would have designed over the years that got them faster and faster and faster. I mean, you looked at 2021. He was controlling that season. And then the last 5 rounds, Mercedes came with his upgrade package and nearly stole the championship. People see it the other way, that year that Max stole the championship of Hamilton, but Max had an outstanding year. He deserved that championship. It was those last rounds that Mercedes came flying back. But for me, he's there or thereabouts, and I think he'll get a few wins in the wet and those Monaco, those sort of tracks. But man, that McLaren, and I've said it all year, is 2 to 3 tenths of a lap faster than anything else on the grid.
They are, they are another level, especially as we saw that in the dry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They are another level. Reliability might be a thing with this that little brake issue they had. But other than that, they've been outstanding. And they know that. Like watching Andreas Staller and after he's talking about it, he goes, We've got the car, we've got the pace. We just have to control the drivers and have a good qualifying session, and we're going to be in the chance of winning every race. So
if I was playing poker, I would love to play against Lando Norris because he can't hide his emotions. You'd be terrible against Oscar, but Lando, he finished second, and you could just... everything he was saying was, I'm happy for Oscar. It's good just to get second. But his eyes and all his other expressions were like, I hate this. I don't want to be losing to my teammate. It was just very funny noticing that.
Yeah, it's funny because he comes in for a photo, he's like this, and then the photo goes, he goes, he's like back to that.
Yeah.
If he was genuinely happy, it wouldn't be like that.
He wasn't happy.
No.
Which is good because he obviously wants to win the title, and this is his year.
Oh, it's his.
This is his year.
If you've got one chance in life, this is it.
Yeah.
This is it. So,
and now he's got to fight his teammate Oscar seems like you cannot rattle him whatsoever.
And the other thing is how important that spin was for Oscar last week, and he's going to be on the back foot now for the start of the season. He was 23 points behind going into into this weekend. So that's going to be a really important. I know it's a long season, 24 races, 4 more sprints as well. There's a lot of points on offer, but if these guys are going to be neck and neck all year, it's going to be a really hard slog from now on. But let's see what happens.
I think the racing gods, you owe them one DNF every year.
Yeah.
There's always one DNF. I think Oscar's paid his due.
Yeah.
First round of the Aussie curse.
Yep.
And I think Lando's going to get... Everyone does. Like, everyone has a DNF.
You got 2019 MotoGP season, Marc Marquez.
Yeah,
I bloody destroyed all the comments last week.
Absolutely destroyed.
T-Shabs was right.
Yeah, you're right.
I had to question myself. I couldn't bloody believe it.
Yeah, that's... I messed up.
At COTA, he did crash, though. It must have been 2018.
Yeah.
Philip Island did crash. It must have been 2018.
I'm confused now. It was one of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But you definitely owe a crash, that's for sure.
No, it's a great point, and it's happened over many a year.
And it might not be his fault either.
No, it could be a mechanical.
Yeah.
It could be a mechanical. So
someone can run up his ass or something. Who knows? Turn 1 incident.
I mean, you looked at the 2 Ferraris this week. I mean, it was just... That could have ended in a double DNF. That impact on even Hamilton's rear wheel.
Yeah.
Like we've seen so many instances over the years that there were in half that impact that resulted in a
100%.
In a puncture. So
I know you just got to sneeze on the tire these days and then puncture.
But yeah, disappointing race. I had high hopes for a really good race, a lot of tire wear, but yeah, it just ended up being 10 degrees cooler than what they thought. The tires hang on for that little bit longer. And then it was just second guessing. And then it came over the radio, there could be rain in the last 3 laps. And then in the back of your head, you're like, is there rain coming? And
That's
never comes.
CT, mate. It's a CT.
That's
cocktease.
I thought it was the brain injury.
CT scan.
CT scan. But yeah, I mean, it's Piastri, amazing. Bierman probably should have got driver of the day. Antonelli got driver of the day, which I didn't understand.
He started 9th, finished 9th or something like
yeah,
that.
like just a normal race. I'm not sure what happened there. Haas an amazing weekend all up. And it's so weird. Like everyone's getting points. Like you got Haas getting points. You had Sauber last week getting points. So it's all going to be topsy-turvy over the next... Williams got Albon in the points, and Sainz got his first point for Williams. So
that's good. That's good to see.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was watching Ted's notebook, which was post race. He does it, and halfway through the notebook, he found out about the disqualification. So that was a whole thing. But freight, so interesting.
Talk to me.
So
this is when you know you're over 30 years old.
They've got. I don't know if anyone actually knows this. They've got freight, air freight, and also sea freight that meets them at all circuits. There was freight that was sitting there that was being sent to Singapore, and they're going to have it for the Singapore Grand Prix. So it was like tables and chairs, and there was another bit of freight from the same team going to Miami, which is in like 4 races time, and that was going to do all the American rounds. Imagine the organization you would have to have.
They were sending it off, just say that same weekend.
So they had
one to Singapore and one to Miami.
They had it for Australia, then they had it for
China,
and then all the freight got split apart into different parts of the world and sat there and waited for them to get there.
Like Hospo stuff or something.
Yeah, and they already had freights in Miami already. They already got freight in Singapore, and they do the Asian rounds, some do the American rounds. The organization that was for one team.
Oh, really?
That was just for like Mercedes. That was the Mercedes. They said it was like sea freight, Miami, and it was going off to Miami tomorrow. And then there was like air freight was going to Singapore the next day. Like,
so does that mean then like someone's sole job in Mercedes, or maybe a team sole job in Mercedes, will just be organizing freight?
100%.
Right.
And like the thing is as well, what was crazy for me was like the organization they would have had to take for that to all work, and like. I never knew that. I just thought all the freight went with them to each race. And like, I guess like they're going to Japan in 2 weeks. So I'm guessing everything would just be sent to Japan. They'll go back to Europe and then meet in Japan. But yeah, it goes everywhere all year. It's just chopping and changing and
the organisation.
Yeah, it was just a really interesting thing. You're right. It's a bit of an over 30 thing to be interested in, but
It is interesting.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Really fascinating. So DHL is the freight transporter for Formula One, and they must have an unbelievable job.
How's the account for them?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of money. God, lots of money.
They would have fought.
But
for
I'm
that.
assuming it might be the same for MotoGP. I mean, I think that, like, what was interesting, what they actually had written on the side of this freight container was like 3D printer, 30 chairs, 4 tables. It was fascinating. So
It's amazing how things don't get like damaged in freight. Like when they send the cars, is that air or is that
have to be air, you'd have to say, because
boat?
It'd have to be air because it just wouldn't be quick enough for a boat, would it?
Chuck it on one of them PP Island boats, speedboat across the Pacific.
Jimmy, let's talk protection, because what you wear actually matters in a crash. Neemium armored leggings have a 3-star impact protection, 4-star comfort, and the thinnest CE level 2 armor available. More protection, less bulk.
Tommy, one of the many reasons I love this product is because of the comfort. You can wear these Neemium leggings underneath like your jeans, your normal chino pants. Mate, when I'm riding, I don't want to be dressed up like a stiff motorcycle rider wearing leather everywhere. I want to be wearing my normal jeans, getting a coffee, whatever, looking cool. I love how these leggings just go under everything seamlessly and you just fit in with the normal crowd.
I mean, there's no overheating, there's no stiffness, and look, we really believe in this product.
Yep.
It's MotoCap tested. It's proven to have a 5.42 second slide time. These things are very, very hard to get in this industry. Serious riders wear Neemium. Upgrade your ride at Neemium.clothing.
I love it. And use code Neemium Republica for 10% off.
Now back to the podcast. I'm having a general conversation with you, right?
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
There was a speedboat in Bali 2 days ago that capsized, killed an Australian person.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Everyone was sitting on the. So to give you a bit of context, James and I in Thailand, we did a PP Island tour, and like James,
Terrible.
I said, this boat's crashing. Like we're gone.
Nah, well let's give a listener the full backstory for this because we're both sick.
Yeah.
I wake up, I diarrhea. We get there, I diarrhea again.
We should have pulled the pin.
We should have pulled the pin.
I was doing this for James as well. I'm like, I
Yeah.
really want to see Jay. I could have pulled the pin like that.
You guys
could have called Sanjay and he could have picked us back up. We would have had a good day. You could
Son.
We could have had a nice simple day. No, we're stuck on a boat with bloody
With diarrhea.
diarrhea.
I had to make the decision, do I get on this boat and maybe shit myself or not? We get on.
Give you a bit of context as well. When I went to ask the lady, so for James, I went and asked the lady, is there a toilet on board? And she said to me, she goes, yes, but you don't want to use it. and I came back and I said to you, yep, toilet on board. Because the boat was like this. Imagine being on the toilet.
Bro, you had it was impossible.
Yeah.
There was a massive storm in Thailand like the day before.
Yep.
So the water was super choppy. We get on this boat. There's this like lovely other Portuguese people, Japanese, really nice Japanese people.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Like, easy to get along with.
Yeah, and then there was these other people that weren't good.
from
Worst type of tourists you'll ever see.
From the South Continent, we'll just say that.
Absolutely ruined the whole experience. Anyway, and then I'm trying not to shit myself the whole time, and the speedboat was just, I've got PTSD from that.
No, I don't think I'll ever be able to get it on a boat again.
It was just too rough. It was just, and then like what was worse, I guess, was going into
Maya Bay,
and it was just fucking people.
Yeah,
it was just a
and
shit show.
like I'm talking, the thing was like,
oh, that's right, docking onto that like floating dock was terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was horrible. But yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I feel sick.
I know, I feel sick. Oh, that's why I was watching Kurt Kaz, that vlogger, yesterday, and he was on a speedboat in Colombia. And I literally felt sick
Vomit
going on. So like, I'm never, ever doing that again.
No,
unless it's like a private tour. Or like, you know, we've got beers, like a party, like it's like chicks our age on there, stuff like that.
No South Continent.
You know, got cool people.
Yeah. Except Papa can be there. It's cold.
Yeah. That's the it's all about obviously the people who you're with as well. But that was a shit show, man. I still feel sick from it.
All right, back on due course.
I'm like pazzing out right now.
Yeah, I'm feeling sick.
I'm like when someone says like the rice fields and they have flashbacks to Vietnam. It was a diarrhea.
You got
for
any
me.
questions for me?
Oh, the main thing I wanted to talk to you was was Lawson.
Yeah.
But Oscar,
Yep.
how far can he go? Because he's looking the goods.
Oh, God, he's just so calm, isn't he? He's just so calm and calculated, and he's a world champion in the making, definitely. Can he do it this year? He was my pick.
Yeah.
He's my pick. I think he can hold it together, and I think Lando, he's made a couple of mistakes on the weekend in qualifying, and for me, it can all fall apart for him, where I think even if it falls apart for Piastri, he just comes back the next week and he's just got a clear head.
Well, it's exactly what I was about to say is Lando seems to be more mentally fragile, where Piastri, no matter what you throw at him, he'll just move on. Next.
Yeah, next. And it's an amazing trait to have. And I said this last week to you. I said, I'm jealous, I wish I was like that. Having that, there's just so calm and nothing phases him. Credit to his parents. I mean, it's hilarious because his mum is this lovely lady who's a bit crazy on the Twitter and says some funny stuff, and she's out there loud, and he's just this quiet, calm and collective. His dad owns a car tuning business called HP Tuners, it's called. So very successful business that tunes luxury cars. Shout out. The reason why he's there, obviously, because obviously a wealthy family and everything like that. But yeah, it's just an interesting young guy. He's not going to have a huge, we love him and as Aussies, but he hasn't got that that nature where you're going to get obsessed with him, I suppose.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that, because as Aussies, we're used to, I guess, very outgoing people. Ricardo doing shoeies or
Weber sort of had his heart on his sleeve
a little bit. 100%.
Yeah.
And then you see like Chad Reed, he always had his heart on his sleeve. Jet Lawrence is pretty out there in the motocross. Will Power, the same thing. I'm sure we're missing heaps of people. Like Casey Stoner was a little bit. I wouldn't say he was probably more mentally fragile.
Yeah.
He wasn't like Oscar, but he wasn't like a big, look at me type of person as well, where normally, Aussies are just like brash.
Yeah.
Toby Price type of thing. So with Oscar, he's his own personality. And I actually think people are really clinging on to that more than what you think.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
But maybe I'm only seeing this as an Aussie's perspective. And I don't know what his fan base is like outside of Australia, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Like, you look at Max Verstappen, his personality is so brash.
Yeah.
And so not warm. He's not a warm person at all.
No.
He's cold as ice. And obviously overseas, he's got a phenomenal fan base from Netherlands. But then you look at like personalities. You look at Valentino Rossi. He's going to have fans in every country because of his personality and how he went about it and his charisma, where someone like Piastri doesn't have that.
No.
So it's going to be it's just a different style of human being he is. So.
You're right, but I think Piastri's personality suits the modern day Formula One fan.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they like him.
Yeah. Well, that's true. It's a good point.
He's just like quirky and dorky, and it's one word answers, but the dude's like doesn't care what anyone thinks. And
He's so dorky.
He just beats to his own drum.
Yeah. I'm envious. I really am. To be that calm and to do this sport is just incredible. There's no, to be honest with you, like there hasn't really been anyone like him. Like you looked at a Kimi Räikkönen, for instance, who showed personality but was cold, but still completely different because he sort of
got angry.
Oh yeah, he got angry, but he just never realize. He never felt like he wanted to be there. Like it was just a hobby for him. Where Piastri wants to be there, he loves it, but he just doesn't. Yeah, he just doesn't get excited or get sad or anything. Like, it's just interesting. Yeah, it's just a different personality trait, isn't it? So.
I think it works. I don't know if he's going to be the big megastar, but I think he's just different. And I think that works for the new F1 fan. That's all it is. And I think he's going to go far. Yeah. In the car he's in right now and how unfazed he's still getting. Like, who knows? Maybe when you get closer to winning a title, it might all unravel. Like, there's no pressure on him.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He's in such a good spot right now.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting point. Let's see, like comes down to the last round. There's 10-point gap. You know, I see him going for the move. I do see him going for the move. And he showed that in Monza last year when he passed, Lando around the outside. He went for it.
That's Lando's downfall.
Well, that was almost a turning point in Piastri's career, that move.
Yeah, I loved it.
You go, I'm going to go for it. I mean, that could be the difference between, Lando's going to second guess everything now going into that first corner or second corner, It just changes everything. It's like in the sprint race when Hamilton lined up against Verstappen, and I'm thinking to myself, all Hamilton has in his mind right now is Verstappen going up the inside. If he has George Russell there, if he has...
Laughable.
Yeah, like he goes, I'll just pass him on the outside, it'll be easy. He's like, it's just going to be self-confidence. And everyone would feel the same. Obviously, he got a better start and passed around the outside, but Max has that reputation.
Yeah.
And everyone would second guess or leave a gap or that sort of thing. And that's the big difference.
Massive difference. It's good. It's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Really
it's funny how in these things, like, you remember throughout the weekend, because I was thinking to myself, all Hamilton's thinking, he's not thinking about who's behind him, as in directly behind. He's thinking about Verstappen. All he's thinking about.
Yeah. That's a great point.
And I would be the same if I was in that position.
Definitely.
Which I'll never be, unfortunately.
Maybe on like steam
body weight.
F1 racing. Body weight. We'll get you in one of them lycra suits. We'll cover you in butter and slip you into an F1 cockpit. Then cook you up.
I wonder if I'd be able to fit in a Formula... I don't think I would be able to fit in a Formula 1 cockpit.
I think I would struggle.
Yeah.
I think you would be pretty...
It's amazing they have padding on their knees because there's so much pressure that goes onto their knees. They've got in where they take out that little piece to get out of the car, they cut out a little piece here so your knuckles can turn the wheel. It's amazing.
It's built for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's so safe. I mean... talk about 2 deaths in 30 years. It's 3 deaths, I should say. It's still pretty amazing what they can do.
Yeah, at the speeds they are.
At the speeds they go. So,
bro, COTA, MotoGP preview.
Yes. Well, all everyone is talking about is Marc Marquez and just dominating, and how he's just going to dominate the whole season.
Yeah,
and I think we got to say to everyone at home, look. It's his favourite track. We've got to expect the same this weekend, I think. Yeah. But I think we'll find out. But anyway, going back to Qatar, everyone's telling us that Marquez loves Qatar. What's going on?
Nah, he's not a massive fan of it. I know he's not a massive fan of it.
And I'm under the same impression as you. I don't remember him having amazing results there. I know it's always been the first race of the season.
He will like podium, but he's not really winning. He lost to Dovi a couple times.
Yeah, on the last lap and all that kind of stuff. He hasn't dominated there like he has in COTA before. So
absolutely not.
You got to remember, like, this track, it's his baby, So,
but it's always been a Ducati track, and he's never been on a Ducati.
Oh, Jesus. So what's he winning by? Is he winning by 10 plus seconds?
At COTA?
Yeah. Or is he toing and froing with Alex again? Imagine if we have the same race. Could you imagine if we have exactly the same race 3 weekends in a row?
That would be crazy.
Where it's those two up front, he lets him through.
Maybe.
It could happen. I think it would be a real detriment to him if he did that, though, again. I think it would be like a turning point for a lot of people going, nah, this is crap. Stop doing this shit.
Oh, like the thing is
for the average fan, I'm saying. Not for us. I'm saying the average fan.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but like, this is just what happens with racing.
Yeah.
Look at Hamilton. Won for so many years. Yeah. Rossi did the same thing. Marquez has done it and keeps doing it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Maybe it's just me who gets... I hate the toying... for me, it's just like, I wish he just went out. I'd rather him go out and just win by 20 seconds.
Well, I don't know. We don't know if he's doing that or what. Well, I was talking to Adrian Shout at Moto Heaven today, and he's like, yeah, he's toying with him.
Yeah.
100% he's toying with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, look, he's going to win. Like, we know that. We know he's going to win. And I don't know with Alex Marquez. I will never know with Alex Marquez. He's too much of a yo-yo. If he's up there in COTA and Qatar, then okay, he's probably going to be good for Europe. But I still don't know. I still don't trust it.
Tips from 2nd to 5th are going to be hard this week.
I don't think Bagnaia is going to podium. I think the more that keeps coming out about Bagnaia, the more it doesn't sound great. And I know we're only 2 rounds in.
Yeah.
Get him out of Ducati.
Put him on a Honda.
But
That photo of him in the graffiti outfit, fuck, that was so funny. They came out round one. They came out after Thailand, that photo.
Bro, that came out like 3 hours after the race. It was ridiculous. But what I'm saying is, no, Bagnaia just seems like the pressure's getting to him from the outside. He wants to go back to the 24. It's just not the start that he's definitely needed or wanted.
Well, he's mentally cooked if he's saying that. I want to go back to the 24.
I don't get that because there's only so much they can do with the 24.
That's just an excuse. That is just a simple shit excuse that he's using.
You got to be on the latest bike.
You got to be on the latest bike, regardless of if you think it's the other one's faster on it. You have to just keep pushing forward.
And you can't say that the bike was built around Marc Marquez because he's only been riding it for a testing and a couple of races.
Yeah. Well, bro, you know what? It goes back to if Marc Marquez was on this Ducati the last 2 years, Bagnaia would not have been a two-time world champion.
I know.
Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Martin and Bagnaia shouldn't be one-time world champions for the last 2 years, but. Yeah, it's an interesting. I think we're going to have much the same this weekend. I think Marquez is going to dominate. And I said this to you. I said this to my mate Pete through the week. I said, Pete, stop complaining about it. You just got to appreciate it.
You're witnessing history.
You're witnessing greatness. This guy on this bike, after the unbelievable injuries he's been through over the last 4 years, you just got to. And if I'm the same, I'm thinking, I really want to see a good race for the lead, but. Sometimes you just got to sit back and go, this guy signed for this team and he's dominating and he's showing everyone he's been the best in the world and he's the best ever. And you just have to appreciate it.
And he's never lost it.
No, God, no.
He never
After
lost it.
everything he's been through, and like what you said with Scott Redding, he goes, there's only, 2 riders in the world would ride through a brick wall and one of them is Marc Marquez,
100%. And with Marc Marquez, he's got 2 clear motives on why he's back. It's to be world champion again and to beat Valentino Rossi's title. We all know that's what he wants to do. We all know.
I saw a video during the week of him, I think it was in his Moto2 days, and it was at his house. And he had the Valentino Rossi model bikes on his little, above his bed or wherever it was. God, it's just amazing. He's come into this sport. And then they had their feud and now he's, talking GOAT status now. You have to, it's in the conversation, of course. I mean, but what he's done in these last 2 races has just been incredible. We haven't seen this kind of domination in the last 2 to 3 years. We haven't
seen this domination since Marquez was dominating back in 2019.
Yeah, like Bagnaia he's unbelievably talented, but doesn't have the ability to do what Marquez has done the last 2 rounds.
No one on that grid does. And you can't put the blame on Bagnaia or anyone. It's just Marc Marquez is just... He's
got to
just...
accept it. You got to take your
level.
2 championships that you have, Bagnaia, put them in your back pocket and go, at least I'll have them forever because I might not get one again.
It's so crazy that we're saying this. 2 rounds in. It's so crazy. But I can't see...
Side-eyed me.
I just can't see... I can't see any change.
No.
Anytime soon. Jerez, right? We go in the Jerez and 2-3 rounds. He almost beat Bagnaia last year. Bagnaia got him right at the death.
Yeah.
On the 3rd race or whatever it was for him on the Ducati. Guitar's going to be the one for me to really watch.
Yeah. Call it early.
What would you do if he wins the first 10?
Yeah, I was about to say, where does it stop?
If he wins Qatar, then I don't know when it stops.
Yeah.
For me, that's the barometer.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a shoe-in for COTA. That's his track.
Yeah, it's a shoe-in.
Obviously, that in Germany.
Whatever he's paying, if it's paying over 2-1, you plant some serious coin on that. Tommy's tips, mate.
That's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Put your house deposit on there. If you're saving for a ring for the business, you put that on there as well. Keep punting. Keep punting.
What got me was the wink. It really reassured me.
Oh, God.
You're
Good
right.
things happen to bad people.
8 in the fucking morning. You're a degenerate of a man.
Shit.
So look, I don't want to keep harping on
Yeah,
about
we
it,
have just harped on 10 minutes about how good Marquez is. But you have
but
to.
like,
You
bro,
have to.
it's just I don't know what else you can say. And
Sepsi's not happy at the moment, I don't think. Sepsi's
he's rage quitted.
He's rage quitting.
Like every other Italian
Yeah.
MotoGP fan, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's getting the tequila shots out to just a somber time at the Sepsi household.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Who's the most nationality? Who's the most fair weather MotoGP fans? And who's the most hard-nosed MotoGP fans? So who's like the ones that will walk away when their countryman isn't doing well, and who's the ones that always stay? Because I've got my answer.
Well, the Italians, haven't got a good track record.
No, they don't.
Because they've walked away from the sport after Rossi's gone. They've walked away from the sport.
Yeah.
Damiano Garipoli, the biggest Rossi fan in history, doesn't even watch it. Oh, was MotoGP on this weekend? He said that to you.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't even know.
No.
He did not even know.
We even got him on the podcast to talk about how big of a fan he was.
He crumbled. Remember that? You buy the feta when it's already crumbled at the shops? That was fucking Damo that night. I love you, Damo. But, yeah, I don't know, James. Far out. You tell me what you think.
I think Italy is.
Yeah, so they walk away when there's no...
Clearly once Rossi left.
Yeah.
And then I think the ones that are the strongest fans are the French.
Yeah, okay.
They've always put on a good Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And they're amazing in like the different events,
yeah.
like the Le Mans 24 hours and stuff. But I think the French are
The crowds always turn out.
they always turn out.
Yeah.
And like the French, it's not even like, Quartararo is their first French champion in how long? Like it's not like they're the Spanish or the Italians that have had all this success, but they're always still there. And
that's a great point. I think the Aussie fans as well, I mean...
we just don't get the turnout like them.
We don't get anywhere near the turnout. And the Stoner days were amazing down at the island, winning on his birthday championships, all that kind of stuff. Still get a great turnout. We've always consistently had an Aussie there.
Yeah. But we haven't had the turnouts like the Stoner days either, so we're a little bit fair weather. If I'm going to...
Yeah, we
Not Magello 2022 though, when there was literally no one there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true.
Bro, there was no one on those hills.
Yeah. Gone from the days where you couldn't get a ticket. It was like... But, Curtis had a good point with this. They put the prices up massively.
Yeah, I've heard
on year.
that.
So they've gone greedy. And that happens. It's happened... It's happened in Formula One over the last couple of years. The cheapest tickets, actually, China, that last weekend was £160, I think, for a 3-day ticket. But people paying, in Australia, people paying $1,000 for a grandstand ticket for 3 days is crazy money. A lot of cash, isn't it?
100%. And if we quickly spoke about F1, I would say Italy is the hard-nosed fans.
Yeah.
But that's only because...
Ferrari's always there.
They're always there,
Yeah.
and they're always teasing them, and then
Yeah,
they always get let down.
Yeah, but Ferrari... Leclerc did win last year in a Ferrari there.
At Monza.
At Monza, yeah. But you're right. They are always there, and it's a phenomenal thing. But I think it is different. They go for the team. Like, I can't believe how they've got around Hamilton.
Yeah, you didn't call that.
No, God, the fans are everywhere for Hamilton.
Well, let's see what Monza looks like.
Yeah.
You can't judge Australia, which is 16-year-old girls, and the Chinese Communist Party.
CCP.
No Xi Jinping.
Hey, too busy. You're right. He can't be seen to be having fun.
You can't be having fun. But you know that Vladimir Putin gave the trophies in the Russian Grand Prix.
Yeah, Hamilton sprayed him with champagne. They got in trouble for it.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
They gave him a pre-COVID vaccine that day and really messed him up. That's why he's got all that woke bullshit now.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, there's a conspiracy there. Like the pyramids right now.
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
2 kilometers deep.
I know. Jeez.
I've
through hard rock they're digging through.
Yeah. Slaves did that, mate.
What, 2
Slaves did
kilometers
that.
down?
Slaves did that, you fucking idiots.
All right, world famous hot takes. Give it to me.
Yeah, you cut me. You're lucky you cut me off of the listeners there.
No, because we've got to build tension for the History Republica coming up shortly.
That'll be dribble. You'd have to give me some weed or something. I'll really get you going. At Holly.sharp93. Now, shout out to a lot of for some reason we must have just hit an algorithm of female fan base because
it's a couple of good looking lads. I mean, it's fair enough, isn't it?
lads.
Yeah, I'm talking about us too.
Oh, how dare you assume my gender? It's good to see.
Yeah,
thank
really
you,
good.
Thank you for listening.
And we have we really do putting our putting our support behind female motorcyclists. You know, Taylor Ralph and
Tara Morrison.
So we're big fans of inclusivity is the word.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
All about it. So
it's really good. At Holly.sharp93, Phillip Island should be changed to be a better date so it's not freezing cold.
Yeah, there's a couple of points with that. You can't bring it to Feb because it's too close to the Australian F1 Grand Prix. They've tried that in the past from all reports, but has been rejected. You can't bring it into later in the year because then they're always finishing in Valencia.
Could you change it to the second last round? Valencia is now mid-November.
Yeah, but it's the end. It's the 20th of October anyway. So like, what do you change it to? The 7th of November?
Good day.
Is it really gonna?
Well, you know what? Yeah, it does make a difference in Phillip Island and Melbourne.
Yeah,
2 weeks makes a massive difference.
You know, it was incredible. We're in Melbourne for Superbikes.
Go on.
3 weeks later, we come back from our trip in Thailand.
Go on.
The weather is completely different. It is unbelievable. We're getting hot days every day, mild days to like freezing mornings. It has changed so much in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it makes a huge difference, I'm telling you. And maybe
what's the second last race of the year? It's usually
like Sepang.
Yeah,
it's normally Sepang.
Yeah, but
or like Indonesia or something.
Sepang's also got issues with their it's not the tsunami. What's it called? Wrong country. They got bloody at 6 p.m. every night. They have like monsoons.
Yeah, they do.
They have their monsoon season, so that's also a fickle time for them. So it's a very, very hard question to answer. And look,
it is.
I'm telling you, if MotoGP was in February when Superbike's on, it would be a blast, man. Like a blast. It'd be amazing. I would love it, but it is what it is. I mean, the thing is as well, you got to look at if we put Superbikes when MotoGP time is. I mean, their crowd would go from dribble to like ASBK spec. Like there'd be no one down there if it was freezing cold on that Sunday. The only thing that drags people to Superbikes is that good weather riding down on that Sunday, and that's fact.
Well, that's true because everyone rides as well. It's a great point.
Yeah.
Funny, I know you're trying to be funny at the same time. It's
I'm not.
It's actually a great point.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. I'm serious for a second. There is the reason why that is important is because everyone rides down and it's a pilgrimage. Yeah, so.
It is. At D Silver 87S, I think he's from Ohio.
Yeah.
Jason.
No, he's from Saskatchewan, Prince George. Saskatchewan. Go on. Saskatchewan's in Canada, actually, in New
Saskatchewan. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation.
It is. Fact check me. Saskatchewan. Go on.
Gertie ain't gonna do that.
Nah, Gertie's just knew his anime or something. I don't know.
Fair is. At the Silver 87S, Marc Marquez dominating past his prime shows how good Jorge Lorenzo was beating him in his prime.
Yeah, it's a great point. We don't talk about that. Well, we actually we talked about that a lot last year.
Great point.
Cheeseburger.
Yep.
But we've gone off him a bit this year.
Remember, Lorenzo is the only person to beat Marc Marquez fair and square in a title fight. Think of that.
2015.
Yep. Controversial year. And I feel sorry for Jorge because it's overshadowed by the dumb incidents.
Yeah.
And no one thinks that, like, everyone forgets Jorge's 2015 year. But he won that fair and square. Marc Marquez threw the bike down the road way too many times that year. Didn't have to. And Jorge Lorenzo picked up the pieces and won fair and square.
What's amazing about that is Marquez's third year on a MotoGP bike normally is like prime.
Yeah.
And he, you're right, he threw it down the road. I rewatched that race.
Valencia?
No, Malaysia.
Oh, yeah.
It's so interesting looking at that race because you had Lorenzo out in front, then you had Pedrosa second, And then it was a battle for third between Marquez and Rossi. And a lot of people do forget that. Like, it wasn't a battle for the lead.
No, it wasn't.
They weren't fighting for the championship. It was Rossi was fighting the championship with Lorenzo. So, and look, I knew that. Everyone pretty much knows that. But there'd be some fans out there would think, oh, they kicked him off for the championship. It wasn't like that at all. And what they did for those few laps was unbelievable racing.
Amazing.
Like, insane. Like, that battle. And it just got too hot, didn't it? It really did. I don't know what happened in the end. No one's going to know if it was what happened. Like, we speculate. But it was a very unusual incident. And anyway, we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah, I've spoken about it too much.
Here we have.
But going back to it, Jorge Lorenzo.
Yes.
Like,
we even talk about the key
I know,
incident.
see, they just overshadowed it again.
Overshadowed him.
People are too quick to forget on that.
Yeah. Great hot take.
And actually unfortunate on Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
At _Jed10, Marquez to lap Raul at COTA.
Raul Fernandez, yeah. He's
More
not,
chance of Chandra.
Yeah, more chance of Chantra, I think. I think Chantra going to that circuit, oh, God, I don't know how he's going to go. That's going to be a scary thought. Because it's a tough circuit. It's a tough circuit.
What did you say? Sometimes you can't even get a lap right there the
Yeah.
whole weekend.
I don't think anyone's gone, oh, I've had a perfect lap at COTA.
I'd say Marquez and that's it.
Well, no, I'm going to say he probably could still thinks in the back of his mind, oh, I could have
Probably,
turned in quicker on there. I could have gone out wider there. Like, it's the longest track on the calendar.
You reckon Chantra might get lost halfway through the race, take a wrong turn, end up in downtown Austin?
Maybe. Like Kimi Räikkönen in Brazil all those years ago, and he always went out to the car park in his Formula 1.
No way.
Yeah, have you seen that?
Nah.
It's hilarious. He ran wide and thought, oh, I reckon I can get back through to the thing. He was like out the car park.
Imagine like you're eating a hot dog with your dad and you see a Formula 1 car go
Yeah.
past with Kimi Räikkönen. Was that when they were like the V8s or V10s?
Yeah,
So I've been super loud.
Dude, he had to do a 2.3 point turn around, come back to where he was, then come back. He lost like a minute.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah.
Cuts of footage of Kimi Räikkönen stuck in the car park during the race is the most ridiculous thing ever. Add Bitchell Munting. Ollie Behrman is the best rookie. If he was in a better car, he would be up at the pointy ends.
Yeah, jumped on his back quickly. I think we're going to have to give a few more rounds for me to give my answer on that because...
Double points last year. Ferrari.
Oh, no, yeah, 100%. But let's just wait and see. He was a bit arrogant on the radio with his Chow comments.
Go on.
Oh, like you're passing Carlos Sainz, you're going Chow, like, see ya.
I like it.
Keep your cats in the bag, I think.
Personality.
Yeah, tall poppy. Don't give me too much. Just pass him. Be a bit more humble, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, just nah. And he actually regretted at the end of the race. He had an interview. He goes, "Oh, what am I doing? That was so silly."
Okay, well that's good then.
Yeah. So
I don't mind it.
Yeah. Go.
I don't mind it at all. At Semmel Grams, nice to meet you guys at Superbikes. Top Rack to Honda MotoGP. Bet my left nut on it.
There's reports coming out with that.
Nice to meet you as well. I remember you. I think this man was from I think it was Portuguese. Nice guy. He's OG as well. He's OG fan.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that.
So the report is that the Superbike Championship finishes and there's 3 rounds of MotoGP left and Honda are going to have enough wildcard entries for him to do 3 rounds. So that's the report coming out from strong sources, but we'll see what comes to that.
Is that a waste of development time? Putting him on that bike for 3 rounds where, is he going to help? They need to develop that bike.
Yeah.
Is it a waste?
Who's their test riders?
Stefan Bradl and Aleix Spargo.
Is it still Stefan Bradl? I thought he retired.
No, it's Aleix Spargo and Nakagami.
Yeah. No, then the answer is no. All right.
Nah.
Aleix Spargo, I think having him 3 rounds on the bike's probably going to be a... it depends on how they go. It doesn't really, does it? Because, they're not going to be race-winning bikes. So if you haven't got a race-winning bike, there's no sense in doing that. It'd be more like... Yeah, it'd be better if it was like a top 10, but then you don't have the concessions, so...
I think it's cool, and I hope they do it, but I think it's wasting development time.
Jeez, it was funny.
But it might be sorry to cut you off. It might be a good... maybe they're using that as a tester to bring him in. See you later, Marini.
Yeah. The last 3 rounds of the season are...
I don't know, bro. Valencia,
Sepang.
maybe Indonesia.
Yeah.
I assume for the sake of assumption.
Yeah. Well, Sepang is a really good test circuit.
Yeah.
But, then again, like you had Bautista on the bike last year.
Go on.
And for a couple of rounds. Was that the year before?
Nah, he's on a Ducati.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, they arguably Ducati could have used that time for...
Yeah, different.
They were leading. Yeah. Tough one to...
It's a hard one.
I'm trying to argue with you.
Yeah.
But there's no real argument.
Nah.
I really want to see it.
Yeah.
And 2 years ago, we'd be like, oh, yeah, that's sick. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But now you look at, God, we really want this team and the manufacturer to do well. You have to look at the bigger picture now.
Well, we have to. Otherwise, Honda's going to bar us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Story for another day. Maybe for our Patreon. At Nikki D3604. If the season keeps going like this, we'll see a wall in the Ducati garage by Mugello. I disagree.
I was going to ask this question at the press conference if we had the opportunity.
Yeah.
So
we did have the opportunity, but we ended up going back into the pool for beers.
So short story, we were in the press conference in Thailand, and I was getting ready to ask my question, and they were getting it was an hour and a half wait or something for them to come in. So, but I wanted to know. I said if and they wouldn't have answered the question, but do you see the guys the team just splitting into two like the Lorenzo and Rossi days? Obviously they would have said no, and it would have been a laugh and whatever. But I mean, I'm seeing it now. Like it's like even Tardozzi, like he gets so excited and animated, and they're so pro Marquez already. They love him, and it's the supports happen so quickly. It's human nature. You're going to start favouring one side. So
yeah, but I don't think Bagnaia is the type of person to enforce that. I don't think he's it's not in his nature. He's cool, calm, collected.
Yeah, he's not like the hot-headed Rossi Lorenzo style of person. And Marquez, to a certain extent, it's not like that either.
Nah, and we spoke about this last week. Tardozzi is on the level of Marquez where he's partying, going crazy. Where Bagnaia is not like that anyway.
Yeah.
He's a bit more mellow.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So I don't think there's going to be a wall at all.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, we'll see.
Allegedly.
Hopefully.
Matt Stevens. We've kind of covered it, but I'll say it anyway. Liam Lawson wasn't always this shit. There is something seriously wrong with that second Red Bull. Which I think it's just a team environment.
It's the car. It's the car. The car's too much set up for Max's driving style, and no one else has his driving style.
That's called the Repsol Honda. We should call that. We should trademark this, the Repsol Honda effect.
Yeah.
Learn from them. Because if Verstappen goes, it's literally we've just watched what happens.
Yeah. But then again, like you got to look at it. Is Max so good that he's driving around the car?
That's what Marquez is doing.
So there's always two ways of looking at that.
Well, that's still the Repsol Honda effect.
It still fits into the regime.
I don't know why you're bringing up Xi Jinping.
Well, when in Rome,
How good was the Aussie national anthem through all of China, though?
It was good.
They wouldn't have even known what that was.
It was good.
It's Australia.
I know.
Fair.
It was like, it was really interesting. Kim Illman, who's a YouTuber photographer.
Our boy.
He was doing a YouTube video, and everyone knew him when he was walking the circuit. He goes, how does everyone know me? YouTube's banned in China.
Yeah, true.
He goes, they must be all using a VPN.
Of course. You want to know something funny as well? For my work, I can see stats of like browsers on how they go onto our website. And one of the main ones is Yandex.
Okay.
And Yandex is the Russian Google, and I sometimes use it. And it's if you want to filter out a lot of the bullshit, you go to the Russian Google and it'll tell you...
Shit, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Yandex.
God, you've been down some rabbit holes in the past, haven't you?
Oh,
goodness gracious.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know what I've seen.
Get that safe search. I need to get that safe search off. My goodness.
The last thing
are you sure you want to say this?
It had to do with Tom Hanks and a lot of alleged things. That was on Yandex. Found it all. Anyway, at Jared Madsen.
Jazza. Sorry about giving you COVID, Mop.
He laughs.
What's he said?
He said, "Thanks for giving me COVID." Russell has stepped up a level in the absence of Lewis as a new team leader.
You know what? He's been consistent in the 3 races we've had so far, including the sprint, of course. He's been really consistent, and the dude's got talent. He's just he's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, how he acts in the media and stuff. So, but he's got talent, and
He's doing well this season.
yeah, it's going to be so topsy-turvy this season. We're going to have McLaren tracks. We're going to have Mercedes tracks. We're going to have Ferrari tracks. You know, it is going to be a really interesting one. But I think as the cloud disappears, the McLaren is still faster than everything else on average each weekend.
But he's doing good. He's doing enough.
Yeah. He's doing enough. Definitely.
That jacket he was wearing wasn't enough, though. That was
looked like he was going to the moon.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I'm not too sure on him, mate.
Very 70s. Very
Yeah,
70s.
That's not even 70s, mate. Don't do that to James Hunt.
Yeah, true.
He wouldn't be wearing that.
No, God, no.
Our boy, reigning number 1 ticket holder. Ticket holder. It's called Papa.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Pups. Tom said Liam Lawson would obliterate Yuki in 2025. Are we standing on that?
Yeah.
He's calling you out, bro.
Yeah, he called me out. And I've got no argument on that, Paps. You've got me good there. I didn't see this happening. I really didn't. I thought that Lawson had that raw pace, that raw talent in any car he drives. And what I saw in Zandvoort in his first race when he was put into a qualifying session on slicks and it was raining and he put a time in, when he had spent hardly any time on the track. This was after Ricardo broke his hand. Oh, this kid has got talent. Like, it's one of the hardest things you can possibly do in Formula One racing is going out on a wet track on slicks in a qualifying sessions when you've had no practice. I mean, name a harder thing. Name a harder thing to do.
It adds to my argument of how you can't just go, shit, and we had a hot take over that overnight.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, whether it's a car, whatever.
And you know what? By the time this podcast is out in about 6 hours' time, there might be some more news out. We don't know.
It normally is.
But I don't think so. I think they'll stick with Lawson for another few races yet. And
breaking news, Colapinto in, Lawson out, Sonoda to Red Bull, Colapinto to Toro Rosso.
I'll eat that helmet on live TV if that happens.
Don't do that, bro. Don't say it.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
That's it.
That's it. Well, thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, you will. See you after COTA.
It's always a hard one, COTA, because you have to try to watch all three races at 6 a.m. in the morning. So if we're like half dead next week and tired, you can blame it on the time Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah. I'm already saying this now. Congratulations, Marc Marquez, for winning. Pole, sprint race, and main race. Unbelievable effort. Second and third, you did an amazing job. Again, congratulations to Marc Marquez. We'll see you after COTA.
See you after COTA.